Oh yeah, oh yeah, oh yeah? I'm the number one guy in the group. All right, and we are back. Vanderpump Rules, the biggest show on cable TV. Everybody's talking about it. People started to go back and binge it from season one. So there's so much there. But, for us who have been watching it from the beginning, it's like, let's talk about more Vanderpump Rules, I guess you would say iconic or big moments, or sad moments, or dramatic moments, or emotional moments. Anyways, Vanderpump Rules, great show. A lot of wonderful cast members. We are breaking down 10 wonderful moments, breaking this down into 2 different episodes. So make sure you watch this one, but also go check out the other episode because it's equally as fun. All right, kicking things off, it's that Stassi, and her attitude. Boy, that attitude made for good reality TV. You cannot deny it. And I always tell you, I really do love Sheena. Sheena really would not hurt a fly. She generally seems to be a nice person, right? But what I like is approaching season 3, you have Stassi and Sheena getting together for lunch. Now, this is a simple scene, but it's also a big scene. Because what makes it funny or interesting to me is that Stassi goes in there and it's like, listen, we are never going to get along. We are never going to be friends. And what is interesting about that is, yes, then Sheena receives that and is like, that's right, fine, whatever. She goes to her cell phone. She kind of dismisses Stassi. Stassi dismisses her and walks away. In the confessional, Stassi's like, oh, great, I won't have to see Sheena anymore. I won't have to see her hideous makeup. I won't have to see her hideous ensemble. Like, I won't have to see her hideous wardrobe. Stassi makes it funny. The joke is there. But what made this scene interesting to me was that, generally speaking, I almost wonder if that went a different direction, how Sheena would receive it. Sheena very much gave what she got. Okay, Stassi, you don't want to be friends with me. Let's just not try to be friends. But in my mind, Sheena, as sweet as she is, I think had Sheena received a little different correspondence from Stassi and the harmony was there, I think Sheena would have at least tried to make that friendship work. So it's always interesting to me that one good note, maybe a naive note that Sheena has, is that if they try, she will always try. She goes back and forth with Katie all the time for years. And it's like kind of that thing where it's a little unfair to Sheena because whether the other person will try to make amends and be a friend to Sheena, then Sheena will always be like, okay, let's go for it. But when the other person, treats Sheena badly or doesn't really want to make that attempt, Sheena just has to take that as well. I want more than anything for the future for Sheena is like she make her own decisions. You know what I mean? Like she reacts as to what she's been given. But a lot of times you as a person could be like, no, I don't want to be your friend. Or listen, let's try this again. And I think Sheena sometimes just is on the receiving end. Either way, Stassi was like making fun of her look. And I thought that was horrible. But for the sake of the show, it was funny. Okay, so this next moment is for Sheena. I tell you, there is something so warm and I don't know, she puts in a lot of effort at what she does. So here is what makes this amazing. Sheena loving everything that Rob does and making excuses for him. That was a moment, a scene, a vibe, a whole thing. Now, what's interesting about that is as I was rewatching, it also is around the time that Sheena's getting very, very in Brittany and Jax's business. So it's already a little interesting to proclaim everything that's great on your end, but then you're also kind of in someone else's business. But I understand it too, because she wanted to be there for Brittany. Now, that's not going to fare well with Jax, but the whole time and this moment was really good. But what really gets me here is Sheena just constantly having an excuse for Rob. Now, of course, she's on this show. She's trying to let everyone know everything is all good. But when things start happening, she kind of goes to this place. And it is really funny. And it makes for a wonderful Vanderpump Rules moment. First of all, her saying, oh my God, nobody has ever put up a TV in 7 minutes. I mean, Rob is just amazing. So already we're like, okay, Sheena, but that's Sheena just being Sheena. So the whole thing is just, it's a lot. Sheena, does get approached by Brittany and Kristen about like, listen, there's this information going around that Rob, that Toco Madera, and this other girl, and, this, and this. And Sheena will not get embarrassed. She will not get defensive. She simply plays the whole situation off like, oh my God, I already knew that. I already knew that story. Like, he's not the type that would, give a token of affection. So that's just, it's okay. We don't really do that. And that's very similar to when Jax was like, yeah, we were with Rob, and he was like, I don't know that we're really like in love. And Sheena's like, well, we don't really like use the word love. Like, we don't express our love by saying we love you to each other. So really, that's nothing. Don't take that into consideration, Jax. And it's not that big of a deal if you break it down instance by instance by instance, but it's this overall picture of he could do anything, including hanging up a TV in 7 minutes. It's, he didn't really say he loves you, and her saying, we don't say love. And then the girl at Toca Madera and that potential story, and her just being so dismissive of it. It's the way she puts on this armor to showcase we're all good. And to that, it makes classic and wonderful reality TV gold. All right, a lot is to be said about Tom and Ariana now and currently, and where it ended up. But there were good times. And, Tom Sandoval, say what you say, he has always been a big, vibrant energy. He's such a presenter. He's such a host. He's such a lifestyle guru to a degree. And I do think there were better times, funner times, looking at season 5 and them taking a photo shoot for Sir, and Tom is giving his, this is what you need to do to make sure when you are modeling and you are in an intimate setting to make sure you do this so you don't, have this happen. And then what makes Ariana classic Ariana is the self-deprecating, humor. She's a gorgeous girl, one of the most beautiful women ever. And she's like making it as if her taking this photo shoot, like she's not that pretty, which is something that she actually did work on later on in future seasons, kind of expressed a lot of that. But I think it's good because right now you only look at them as like, it's just all bad. It's just a terrible relationship. But it's nice to see Vanderpump Rules. When you go back, you could see some really good scenes when everything was working. It's not always going to work, but there are some times where everything was working. And I think the scene where they were doing the photo shoot at Sir, it was like peak. The show was really big at the time. I mean, it's bigger now, but in terms of it was on its way. And they were at that time, one of the big relationships that was still working and winning. At that time, Sheena, she had went through what she went through. Jax and Stassi, of course, quickly went a new direction. And I guess like Tom Schwartz and Katie were together, but like we never really seen them together. But anyways, some good moments from Ariana and Tom back in the day, way back in the day. All right, so the next one is about James and his opinion on weight. He just always goes to that, which is so funny because sure, he's skinny and that's great. You got that good metabolism, buddy. But your father's not skinny. Your father's quite portly. So it's funny to like use weight as like an issue. But nonetheless, anyways, the scene that I'm talking about is the way James, outside, it was the Pride weekend and it was outside of Sir, and he waltzes up there and he's got his cigarette and he's, basically reading Katie for being, a little more portly than she usually is. It was rough to watch because the scene is challenging. There is no denying that Katie had gained a little weight in that moment, but also Katie still looked beautiful. Now, Katie's nobody's favorite on the TV in terms of her personality, but to dog her look doesn't really seem, I don't know. You could say that the show is a reality show and it's just like, you dig here, I'm gonna throw a dig there. But like weight is just always kind of like a interesting one with James because it's so redundant. And again, his dad is fat. Like his dad is overweight, so that's like, do you say that about your dad or do you want people to say that about your dad? It's just a weird thing for such a young person with good metabolism to use that because we've all gained and we've all lost. We've all gained and we've all lost. And if it hasn't happened to you yet, it will. Nonetheless, to add insult to injury, there were those moments that, Lala said, oh, I see not everyone has their summer bodies, which is actually kind of funny. And then James said, "Oh, which one of you are pregnant here?" It's not the dig itself, because this is a reality show and the whole goal is to go, I'm going to say something about you. What you got to say? That is the show. So we can't act like this is a PBS special and it's like a documentary and it's, an astute program. It's reality TV. But what gets me is that that's always James's go-to. He always wants to go to, well, you're old and you're fat. And it's like, James, you got a lot of things we could be looking at with you, but he has stood the test of time. So I guess he's one of those characters that at the beginning, you're like, get him out of here. And he always had that luxury of like Lisa and Lisa's son being close with him and Lisa knowing his parents. So you always think he had more chances to fail than the average person. So that's why you don't want his behavior to be what it is. Nonetheless, it made for a really good and cringy Vanderpump Rules scene. Okay, wrapping it up, season 4. Now this is fun because the show is full steam ahead. And you don't really see Sheena and Katie being that close for that long. Specifically because Sheena was always very close with Ariana in the beginning, Not that they're not now, but Katie and Sheena approaching Ariana and kind of saying, listen, we're all going to go to Hawaii. Tom Sandoval, Jax, they have the birthday coming up. And the thing about it is Sheena's basically kindly calling out her friend like, Ariana, it seems like you're the one who's making things more of a division. And what was funny is the whole thing wanted to get pinned on Kristen. Kristen, crazy Kristen, right? And what Sheena was trying to say was, Sheena was like, listen, you're with Tom Sandoval, great, everything's great. Kristen's doing what she's doing, but that same division that Stassi wanted, Stassi breaking up with Jax and that division within the group, the friend group, Sheena's whole thing was like, Ariana, you're letting off that you're so chill and you're so cool, you're so calm, you're so relaxed. And it took a lot because Sheena's not really this person, but Sheena was like, Ariana, you're like the one who actually is sort of creating the division. You're not as easy breezy as, Kristen is. Kristen's actually the more calm one in the situation, is like, let's just all go. We're a group of friends. Let's just go and let the pieces fall where they may. And if anything, Kristen was the one that could have held on to it a little more because she's the one who got kind of the raw end of the deal in that situation. So I thought it was good because there's so many moments where like Ariana is looked at as like, oh my gosh, she could walk on water. But there are a lot of times that she goes through it too. And sometimes people like Sheena need to call her out. And that makes for a great Vanderpump Rules moment. All right, those were just a couple Vanderpump Rules moments. Be sure to put in the comments if you have any other big or iconic or sad or dramatic moments that you want to talk about. And we could do those episodes later on, but we wanted to make sure that we did a couple to celebrate all the excitement that is Vanderpump Rules. Comment, like, subscribe, but more importantly, hit that Patreon, patreon.com/randomlyRJ, and we will talk on the next one.